War. My family know a lot about war. We were born into war. See, my mother was born when the Japanese occupied Cambodia in the 40s. She never met her father because he was killed 7 months before she was born. I was born when the American was dropping bombs on us, and I lived through the genocide. War made me grow up faster, and I bear the responsibility a lot earlier in life. I remember when I was 5 years old, and my sister was a 3-year-old. We were bathing in the reservoir outside our village temple in Chongkao, Cambodia. We were having fun until suddenly she reached a part too deep for her feet to reach bottom. I saw her head slip under, so I jumped in after her. My arms and legs struggled because I didn't know how to swim. But I was taller than her and managed to grab her arms and pull her to safety. That was the day I became a responsible human being. War is ugly, and war is evil. April 17, 1975 was the day that hell was unleashed on the Cambodian people. That was when the Khmer Rouge took over Cambodia, and they killed over 1.5 million people. The Khmer Rouge wanted to bring Cambodia back to the year zero. So they banned all wealth and education. The biggest target were intellectuals. And that was bad news for my father. You see, my father was a teacher. He was a well-known teacher and an entertainer in our village. So there's no way for him to hide his status. Surely enough, after the Khmer Rouge took over, they came for him. On the night they took him, he was at a neighbor's house, making people laugh and smile. And soldiers were scouting the house, making sure they keep an eye on him. And when he came home, they showed up. We're here to take you to Angka. Angka is a generic word for government, the word that the Khmer Rouge use when they take people away. My father began to cry because he knew what's about to happen. He begged for mercy, but they were merciless. They tied him up, they dragged him out, and they beat him to death outside of town. That was the last time I saw my father. And my mother said, "Don't ever talk about him again. Because if the soldiers hear about it, they'll come and take us all away and go join them." After they killed my father, they moved us to another town. We were there. I was 6 years old. My two sisters were 4 and 2 years old. We were there not too long. And in the middle of the night, they came for my mother. Again, they invoked Angka. But my mother was strong. She did not cry. She later told me the reason why. She said, if I cry, I will give them a reason to take you to. So they take her away from us and left the children with our old grandmother. It's been months, nobody have heard of my mother. And I was beginning to think that she's not alive anymore. But one night, she appeared like a ghost. Why are you haunting us? My grandma said. You left us. Leave us alone. យាយដាម my mother replied. ខ្ញុំមិនមែនខ្មោចទេ ខ្ញុំនៅរស់ She said, I am not a ghost. I'm alive. So what happened was, the Khmer Rouge soldiers took her to a work camp instead of killing her. But she's gone for so long, and she's worried about her children. So she took the risk of escaping from the work camp just to check up on her children. That was my mother. But she had to return before the soldier noticed that she was gone. I didn't want to let her go. I miss her. After a couple of weeks later, I was determined to go find her, even if it meant going alone at the age of 7. I was able to convince my grandmother to let me go. I didn't know where the work camp was, except the general directions. So I joined a group of people that was going that way. And partway through the walk, we had to split way. They told me to go that way, through that jungle. On the other side, the work camp is over there. Alone, into the jungle. It was a very thick jungle, full of noises and creatures. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. So I decided to turn back around, but then I was lost. I don't remember the way that I was going in or came out. I began to cry. I cried and I cried. Then I gathered myself up and said, I can't be in here. It's getting dark. I have to keep going, even if it meant just going. It doesn't matter where I'm going. I just go. So I eventually found my way out. As I arrived at the work field, my mother was right there. She stood up from her work. She saw me, shocked. What are you doing here? I did not respond. Tears was falling from my eyes. I was too choked up. She ran to me and comforted me with her hug. Up to this day, I still don't know how I found her. We eventually returned to our hometown of Chongkao. So Chongkao used to tame with the life of the people living there. But now, the village itself seems dead. And my mother knew that there is no life there for us. There would be no opportunity for anything. So she made another decision. She wanted us to have a better life, so she made a decision to escape Cambodia. We joined up with a group of escapees. It's about 100 of us. We walked only at night, so we wouldn't be seen. We walked through the fields, through the hills, through the trees, in tense silence. Our eyes and ears were attuned to the possibility of stepping on a landmine or on a trap or just run into soldiers. It was crazy. But one incident that I remember really well. We were about to cross this road, this main road, an embankment. Military vehicle patrol passed now and then. If we were caught, they would have killed us for sure. Just when we were about to make a run for it, a baby in our group started to cry. We stopped and we discussed, what are we going to do? What should we do? Some people saying, maybe we should leave the family and the baby behind. And some say, maybe we should kill the baby to protect our cover. Well, no one had the heart to kill the baby. And we waited and waited until it's getting close to sunrise. So we had to get out. We had to get across. So we decided to leave the family and the baby behind. But then a miracle happened. The crying stopped. Now what? Should we risk crossing the road with the baby? What if it wake up and cry again? So we all decided that we came together, we're going to go together. Miraculously, we made it across safely, everyone. Finally, we got to our destination, a refugee camp in Thailand. See, Lombok refugee camp was where my life truly started. It was my pearly gates of heaven. You say, how can a refugee camp be a heaven? Well, for me, it was. It's where I got to be a kid for the very first time. I went to school. I watched a movie. And I made friends. And for the very first time in my life, I didn't have to worry about finding food or soldier taking me in. The community at Lombok refugee camp was so strong and supportive and helpful to one another that I want to build the same community here in Portland. But imagine, as a child, Lombok refugee camp was what I would imagine it to be. A place of heaven. As a child of the killing field, I imagine a lot. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say, I'm a dreamer, but I know I'm not the only one. And I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Thank you.